Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Hope everybody's had a good weekend so far. I hope you have been able to either touch grass or talk with your friends and family, hang out with your friends and family, IRL, in real life. I hope all the good things for you. Mm, hashtag. Um, we've had a. It's actually not a normal weekend. I don't know if we have normal weekends anymore. I had a normal weekend. I had a fun weekend. I'm glad that I had a good time with my friends. I took some time off yesterday, video games and a club with my friend Selena for her birthday. I had to take care of some drunk friends. Um, but that is all love and all that comes with friendship, so I did not mind. Uh, but, and I hate saying it like this. I don't feel good saying it this way, but it is the truth. Um, Lindsey Graham is dead, and I'm sorry for his family, but Lindsey Graham is definitely one. He's a warmonger. He's okay with killing women and children. He's literally said, "I want." He was gonna go back to his home state and tell the South Carolinians or wherever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's from South Carolina. Um, I want to send your kids to Iran to die for oil or some probably worse than oil now is just for a man's ego. Like, oh my goodness, there's not a war that he did not support. Um, so he's dead, 71, pretty early in his life. Um, didn't ignored the signs of cardiovascular uh, of problems, and B, his ignorance was literally the death of him. So that's where we are. This is definitely gonna cause some problems for Trump. His mind, his control over Congress is smaller now. It's weaker now. So I think this actually puts a wrench in his plans. I think this is not actually good for him. Uh, so we'll see. We'll see what happens legislatively. But as far as the country goes, we are probably a better country without him in it.
This is the current state of America. One of the largest shows on Fox News, pulling millions and millions of viewers, had to interrupt their coverage of the death of former Senator Lindsey Graham in order to announce that the United States is carrying out a new round of strikes on Iran. We are 140 days or so into this war that was supposed to last 4 to 6 weeks, and we are currently losing. I honestly struggle to think of a better way to honor the former senator than to announce that we are currently at war with a country that begins with the letters IRA, where rapidly depleting our missile stockpiles, we're rapidly increasing our debt. Lindsey Graham would be the first one to tell you when he was alive that he wants to go to war with Iran. He would say that he wants to free the people, but then when Trump...
I think more is just like he's getting kickbacks from the military contracts that we keep buy or getting into to make more bombs and bullets to go kill people in foreign lands instead of using it here in the United States to help citizens live longer. Like him. He had he That's really infuriating. You have access to health care that the majority of your constituents don't, and you took for granted that health care, and you died because of it. Had you gone to the doctors and they looked at your heart and be like, "Oh yeah, you got something going on with your heart," like they did with my grandfather, within like a month they had him scheduled for a pacemaker, and he got a pacemaker, and now his heart is ticking really good. So it's like, yo, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me?
threatened to murder all the people of Iran, including citizens, Lindsey Graham was behind him as well. So you can tell that there are some ill intentions in these neocon boomers who want to go to war. And right now, the United States is racking up a bunch of debts. We are losing out on our missile stockpile, and we are making the world an inherently more dangerous place. This is the reality that Lindsey Graham wanted, so congratulations. We're currently stuck in a war with Iran where Trump's carrot won't work. He can't negotiate, but then when he tries to use a stick, it won't work as well. He can't strike them. He can't negotiate with them. We are on an endless treadmill of a war where Iran is squeezing concessions out of the U.S. negotiations, and Trump is desperate, incredibly desperate. So let's watch this clip of Fox News announcing the death of Senator Lindsey Graham and then having to cover the Iran strikes. And then I want to talk about the implications of this death, because the Senate Judiciary Committee on the Republican side is now down one more member. This may endanger the confirmation of Todd Blanche, the acting Attorney General, as the real Attorney General. He may not make it there without Senator Lindsey Graham. I mean,
let's see. Gemini. Now that Lindsey Graham is dead, is the makeup of the Senate in the USA GOP versus Democrat. How might it disrupt
I mean, Mitch McConnell is also currently in the hospital, so we're gonna have to see where this goes.
And Mitch McConnell's in the hospital, but yeah. Look at this shot, bro. This is of somebody who can't hold up a newspaper. Like, the guy's gone. Like, let him. We have Social Security. We have Medicare for when people get old. How about people just get old and chill? Like, retire, fucking go on boats, go fishing, go to the national parks. Like, what the fuck, bro?
And Todd Blanche was just called out 2 days ago for covering up Zorro Ranch, Epstein's fourth hidden property, where a lot of reports say he was trying to impregnate a bunch of young teens. We'll get into all of this. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you appreciate the Adam Mockler feed. And let's just jump in with this clip right here, where Fox interrupts their coverage on the death of Senator Lindsey Graham.
since his 40s. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, more to be uncovered on that, but in the meantime, we have a Fox News alert. CENTCOM says that U.S. forces have begun launching more strikes against Iran just moments ago. The strikes are meant to stop Iran's attacks on commercial shipping vessels. All right, Joey, going back to you on that, talking about Lindsey Graham and, of course, his stance on the war with Iran, or the endeavor in Iran, I guess we will call it. And then now to this, to more strikes.
So the governor of South Carolina, they can appoint somebody until the elections, until a special primary and election can be held within the coming weeks. Okay, but for the meantime, it doesn't really do anything. Until he appoints somebody, that there is going to be some issues there, but the governor will just appoint a temporary replacement, then they'll have a special election for his. And it looks like Nancy Mace is gonna fucking put her hat in the ring for that. I fucking hope she does.
You probably knew this was coming, but what's your reaction to, I guess, the building intensity here?
Yeah, I think I'm probably sounding more like Lindsey Graham every day, so call that what you want.
Bro, what is going on here? What is happening here? If I pass away, I really hope my name isn't invoked on TV to justify illegal, reckless wars with other countries that are exploding our debt, depleting our missile stockpile, giving Iran more regional control at the end of the day, and a U.S. official just announced moments ago that they expect a bigger wave of American attacks against the Iranian military targets tonight than the earlier strikes in the day. Like I said earlier, the carrot is not working, the stick is not working. Trump is stuck in this endless treadmill where Iran can just shut down the strait, as they did. They kept exploding and shooting missiles at boats in the strait, and they were doing that because Israel continues to occupy southern Lebanon. Israel and the United States continue to wage their war on Beirut under the guise of striking Hezbollah. So it's an absolute mess where the United States is breaking the ceasefire, Iran retaliates in the strait, and then we retaliate further, and now we are back to square one. I'm glad they're invoking Lindsey Graham, but Lord have mercy. This brings me on to the implications. So, as Brian Tyler Cohen points out, with Lindsey Graham's body still warm, Trump went on a whole Sunday show circuit, NBC, CNN, to exploit the death of his friend in an effort to promote a voter suppression bill that would enable Trump to consolidate power for himself. I've heard of never letting a good tragedy go to waste, but perhaps Trump could have at least waited until Graham was in the ground before propping up his corpse for his own personal benefits. Very well said from Brian Tyler Cohen. This is why independent media is so important. Nobody on TV is going to say it like that unless it's independent media going on TV, but at the end of the day, it's important that we're all in this together and that we all keep pushing. This brings me on to the actual procedural implications of Lindsey Graham's death. Listen to this. The death of longtime Senate Judiciary Committee member Lindsey Graham leaves the panel without one of President Donald Trump's staunchest allies as senators weigh Todd Blanche's Attorney General nomination and other key picks. Graham, a Republican from South Carolina who led the committee during the second half of Trump's first term, died Saturday at 71. The news came just days before the panel is scheduled to hold a highly anticipated two-part confirmation hearing for Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche was Donald Trump's personal attorney during the election, helped him get out of some crazy stuff.
Currently blocking or hindering an investigation into Zorro Ranch. That's so dirty, bro. Like, how do you get to a point in your life as an attorney and you're like, you know what? This man has made me so much money. I am gonna help him defend his pedophile sex trafficking friend even after that guy's dead.
They got lucky, and then after that, he became the deputy attorney general until Donald Trump had to kick Pam Bondi out when he fired Christino and Pam Bondi, a lot of the women in his administration. Todd Blanche is now the acting attorney general, and they're about to try to nominate him as the real attorney general. So Blanche, the acting attorney general and former personal lawyer for Trump, must now face a committee led by Republicans with just a one-margin vote without Graham, and his advancement is not assured. The absence of Graham, who had vocally supported Blanche's nomination, will be felt as the nominee looks to dispel concerns from some Republicans over his level of independence from White House influence, former Senate aide said. And let me tell you, there is not a lot of daylight between the White House and the current Attorney General. It is actually despicable. Just a few days ago, New Mexico's top law enforcement official said he was fed up, and he said that the Department of Justice under Trump, effectively acting at the behest of Donald Trump, is obstructing an investigation of Jeffrey Epstein's former ranch. Look at what I have highlighted on screen. This is not some random liberal online making an allegation. This is New Mexico's Attorney General Raul Torres. He sent a letter to the acting Attorney General U.S. Todd Blanche. He actually sent 5 letters over the course of over 140 days, and he got no response about Zorro Ranch, the 4th real estate of Jeffrey Epstein that a lot of people ignore. We know about St. James, his island, really weird. We know about his Manhattan townhouse, which was a former girls' school, very weird. We all know about the Palm Beach property, of course, but Zorro Ranch was this desolate, isolated ranch in New Mexico where the allegations are serious. They range from him burying 2 young foreign girls after he strangled them to death, to him trying to impregnate young women en masse. New Mexico lawmakers and authorities opened investigations into Zorro Ranch and Epstein's other ties to the state after a document released by the DOJ earlier this year outlined an allegation that the late convicted sex offender had the bodies of 2 women buried near the estate. The ranch reportedly was also where Epstein envisioned launching an effort to populate the planet with children bearing his genes, though there's no evidence that he actually acted upon the eugenesis plan. But at the same time, they didn't allow an investigation into this from 2019 to 2026. The DOJ, especially under Donald Trump, was stopping an investigation directly. Then one of Trump's close allies ended up buying the property, likely covering things up. The DOJ just accidentally owned itself with an Epstein Files blunder. Aaron Parnas tweeted out on this original tweet, "Not enough people are talking about this. The Trump administration is impeding the only active criminal investigation in the Jeffrey Epstein." And DOJ rapid response under Todd Blanche says, "We are." We are. I'm assuming they meant to say, like, they're trying to defend themselves. What they're trying to do is defend themselves, saying, "We are investigating it." But they accidentally just said that they are impeding the investigation. Aaron Parnas says, "The DOJ just responded to my tweet and admitted it is impeding the only criminal investigation into the Epstein files." On screen now is Attorney General Pam Bondi, when she still had her job a few months ago, standing next to Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, the one that is going to be struggling to be confirmed due to Lindsey Graham dying. We also have new photos of Mitch McConnell, actually. The new photo of Mitch McConnell just released. People are drawing conspiracy theories about it online, but I'm assuming that this is, I'd say this is likely a real photo showing that he is back. He doesn't really look that great, and he was rendered unconscious multiple times, but it seems like Mitch McConnell is still kicking. To continue with this, AG...
Barely, bro. Barely. That's literally a weekend at Bernie's. Like, if you're falling from a cardiovascular emergency, your brain is going to be affected as well for as long as that you're down. Like, oh my
Pam
God.
Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche admitting on camera there were a few mistakes with the release of the Epstein files.
I think it was less than 1% error. Todd, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, that's right. We said from the beginning that any mistakes that were made, and there should be no mistakes. And so when you say lawyers have said something, that's not a fair question, and you know it, because we took pains to protect victims. When we were when someone identified that there was a victim.
No, they didn't. They leaked naked photos of the victims. They leaked the victims' names. They leaked, I think, even some of the victims' addresses.
We immediately pulled that document down, fixed it, and put it back up.
Immediately.
And so of course we don't ever want to do anything to re-victimize anybody that was victimized by the horrible crimes of Mr. Epstein, and we didn't to the extent that mistakes were made, and there were mistakes made because of the reasons the Attorney General just said.
Bro, what a word salad. Can we do anything but make this guy our next Attorney General? Lord have mercy. This guy, as the Attorney General, has been stifling this investigation into Zorro Ranch. New reporting reveals that Trump's FBI received a tip back in 2019 that 2 young girls were buried outside Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch. Now, the New Mexico Attorney General is straight up just saying, dude, we have sent you letter after letter after letter, and none of them are getting through. The DOJ is not complying whatsoever. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche then desperately made this post saying, Senator Graham was an American patriot who loved our country. He was a friend whose advice and humor was always appreciated. This was a devastating loss for America and the people of South Carolina, and our prayers are with his family." Check out this ad against Todd Blanche.
Time to party with Mr. Epstein.
Meet Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General of the United States and the guy who oversaw the release of the Epstein files. How'd that go? 2 million Epstein pages still haven't been released. And Blanche transferred Epstein's co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell to a cushy prison camp with puppies and Pilates. Oh, and now he wants to add Attorney General to his profile. This isn't a resume to reward. Tell your senators don't confirm Todd Blanche.
It is.
Honestly, very well said right there. At the same time, we have new aerial photos being released revealing the damage to the White House. Why are they reinforcing the front door? Why is Trump rapidly tearing things down at the very last minute?
They are building that really fast. How? Damn, they are building that really fast. I don't think it'll be in time for the elections, but yo, this is really disgusting. This is like really gross.
This is absolutely absurd. I want to bring this all the way back to Fox News interrupting their coverage on the death of Lindsey Graham. I want to bring this back to where we started because right now, as I make this video on Sunday night, the war is rapidly escalating. I'm actually about to fly out to New York because I'll be on CNN Newsnight tomorrow on Monday with Abby Phillip. It's at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. You should check it out. You should drop a like on this video to make sure you help boost it. It just means the world to me, genuinely. But I want to point out that as this war continues to escalate, we get farther and farther away from a future that is beneficial for America. We already pay $1 trillion per year just on the interest of our debt. Donald Trump is responsible for about 28% of our debt, more so than any other president. And right now, we are sending more missiles, more money, and more rockets overseas for a failing war that Lindsey Graham, Donald Trump, and other neocons have been fighting for years and years and years. We've always been told that fighting in the Middle East will make us feel better back at home. But when has that ever actually happened? When has it ever actually affected us? We killed Saddam Hussein. We invaded Iraq. We invaded Afghanistan. We fought these wars for decades, and it's only made us worse off at home. That doesn't mean that there's no intervention necessary. Like, I think helping Ukraine is very good, but invading other countries, capturing their leaders, and then going to war with Iran is absolutely absurd, and they're correct.
It's definitely a difference in helping a smaller country that we have, treaties with, and just attacking a country that we be for no fucking reason, really.
Even 8 hours after Lindsey Graham was pronounced dead via his own social media accounts, South Carolina politician Nancy Mace made a very opportunistic and rather cynical move to try to take Lindsey Graham's Senate seat by flooding the airwaves and pitching the idea on Fox News, talking about it on Twitter in a very weird manner. Literally a few hours after Lindsey Graham's death was announced, Nancy Mace, a Republican politician in the same state that Lindsey Graham is in, South Carolina, and who lost her seat as a representative because Trump endorsed against her, and then lost the governor's race because Trump endorsed against her in the primary, she is now trying to make another run, trying to take another swing at it, this time immediately, in a very opportunistic manner, openly talking about how she wants to run for the Senate seat. She even went so far as posting, quote, Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. And of course, it's the famous scene from The Godfather 3 with Michael Corleone.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Very famous scene, of course. She's saying that she might re-enter South Carolina politics again, launching another campaign, and this is a mess for the Republican Party. It's also incredibly weird because, you know, I did some research about this. Lindsey Graham is the 7th person to have held South Carolina's Class 2 Senate seat that died in office. Out of the 32 people to hold Lindsey Graham's Senate seat in particular, 7 of them have died. You know this guy right here with the missing eye? I'm sure some of you know him. It's Benjamin Pitchfork Ben Tillman, a politician who is a complete white supremacist who died in office and who held Lindsey Graham's seat at one point. Benjamin Tillman was a politician who was a United States Senator in South Carolina. He was a white supremacist who opposed civil rights for Black Americans. The point is, this Senate seat is kind of cursed, and this is Nancy Mace this morning, trying to vie for the Senate seat. This was her hopping on Fox News only hours after his death.
Longer term, he was on the ballot this fall. You ran for governor. Are you considering running for his seat eventually?
I would say right now, my focus is on South Carolina. I think we're all still just sitting here stunned and shocked.
Bitch! I'm sorry, I don't mean to say that, but bitch, what do you mean? South Carolina said, actually, we don't want you to focus on us. We want you to go home. We don't want you working for South Carolina anymore. You don't have to focus on it. There's some better people to focus on it now. They want to get some different people in to focus on it now. Like, what the fuck you mean you're focusing on it?
Shocked that this has happened, and we're mourning his loss. I'm never going to shut the door. I love the state of South Carolina. You only live once, and if
so
the people
many
of South Carolina would like me to serve in that.
So many of those what are they, like idioms? I think they're called idioms, or just catchphrases she's just throwing in there.
Capacity, I'll certainly take a look at it, but right now I just want to focus on him and his legacy, what he did for the state.
She's trying to wrap this yearn to run in all of this language, but dog, this is the same woman who posted, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Listen, I'm not somebody that will like make fun of people's deaths. I try to be respectful on the show. I'm not going to be inappropriate and like dance on people's graves. But this right here is really teetering the line. In my opinion, this is more cynical and opportunistic and devilish and vile than anything I've seen any liberal or left-leaning person say online. You know, I had a viral post earlier because Anna Kasparian said, "Good riddance." And then someone named MAGA Barbie said, "This is such a bizarre way to react to someone dying. I'll never understand it." So then I had to quote tweet MAGA Barbie and I said, "Oh," and it was Donald Trump saying, "Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people, President Donald J. Trump." It got like 2.9 million views because it's a total opening that she left there. How are you going to have your name as MAGA Barbie and then try to take the moral high ground regarding people's reactions to death? I mean, Donald Trump did a bunch of interviews this morning with CNN, with Meet the Press, about Lindsey Graham, and he kept making it about himself. We're going to break down all of this. We're going to walk through all of this and walk through the video from GW, which is George Washington University in Washington, D.C., just moments after Senator Lindsey Graham arrived and just moments before he passed away. Over the past 12 hours or so since this death has been announced, Trump has done a bunch of interviews about it. Benjamin Netanyahu did a bunch of interviews about it. I don't know who's making that decision, but Keith Edwards, friend of the show, says on Twitter, "I want to know how the woman who called 911 for Lindsey Graham knew Lindsey was having a cardiac event. She was 40 miles away in Baltimore. Was someone in the house with Lindsey? How did she know? Who is she?" Now, these are questions that need to be answered and that the public needs to...
So, honestly, I don't really care about the conspiracy. Apparently the FBI is looking into Senator Graham's death. maybe there was something suspicious about it, but I wanted to see if maybe see maybe Hassan. Wait. And I think it's my subscriptions. Let's see.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs. Today is July 12th, 2026. And Lindsey Olin Graham, American politician and attorney who represented South Carolina in the United States Senate from 2003 until now, is dead. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs, born in the town of Central South Carolina, Lindsey Olin Graham attended the University of South Carolina. He served as a member of the Judge Advocate General's Corps in the U.S. Air Force from 1982. A quote that I always repeat, like, this is probably the least bad thing that he...
No, okay, I want to go to the NDA. This is the one.
A fast stack of cash do unspeakable things to him in a hotel room, but to me...
Alright, so yes, this man, or woman, maybe, is claiming that now that he's dead, she doesn't have to abide by the non-disclosure agreement he signed. So he can come out and say what Lindsey Graham paid him
he
for.
will always be the man who paid a Twinkie pre-transition college student a fast stack of cash to do unspeakable things to him in a hotel room while he wore red lingerie. It is a canon trans event to have far-right freaks bankrolling you, then turning around and voting against you. People love to judge us, but I never see them opening their wallets. Shout out to sex workers everywhere forced to humanize their enemies just to make rent. It's an absolute mindfuck to me that one of the reasons I have any semblance of financial security and a lack of student loans is because of this man. At the time, I had no idea who he was, and I only figured it out because another group of twinks leaked Lady G to the media. Some queers tried to grandstand critique this, saying we shouldn't out people. I believe bigots with power deserve no peace or privacy, especially when they hold public office. I'm glad they did it. Icons forever. Anyway, if you ever enjoy what I do on the internet, I know that is in part because of Lindsey's generous donations over a decade ago. Oh my God. Because of Lindsey's generous donations, I've ever sent you dollars or something. Know that was kickstarted by the now deceased sissy senator from South Carolina. Oh my God, Lindsey, rest in hell for what you did to our community. I will continue to love queer and trans people harder than you ever hated us. You loved every second of our time together, and now everyone knows. Kissy face. Dude, this is going to be an insane week. This is going to be an insane week because Lindsey Graham is a demon. Like, Lindsey Graham was a demon. He was a very bad guy. I will, it's going to be tough to...
Yeah, it's just so hypocritical going after that and, like, literally calling for the deaths and, for the deaths of innocent, putting down the people of his own community because he was in the closet. Like, I don't know. I want we the empathy that I do have for people wants me to be a little softer, but I don't think I can be soft for them because I have to use my empathy elsewhere on people I care about. Eh, So these people do not get my empathy. All right, Israeli Zionists or Zionists in general. If you're a Zionist, if you are still trumpeting Israel, are you still defending Israel? Then I don't know, bro. You're kind of a piece of shit. So maybe just keep it moving.
Weapons and then train those weapons on our congresspersons, on our citizens even. Any other country that does this, they're getting invaded. Representative Ro Khanna detained by Israeli settlers in the West Bank.
Ro Khanna visited Turmus Aya in the occupied West Bank, a village with thousands of Palestinian Americans who have come under repeated attacks by Jewish settlers. Khanna says he became a target as well, detained by settlers and the Israeli military for more than an hour, according to Reuters.
By the way, insane. I mean, this is expected, but it's insane. And we've entered new territory where you don't even have the Israeli military, but actual hilltop youths detaining not just American citizens, but now American representatives, okay? Elected members of Congress. In a normal planet, in a normal universe, we lived in a normal universe, this would be considered an international crisis. In Israel, it's, a Tuesday. Shout out to Cam Kasky, Jasper Nathaniel, and also Ro Khanna for, doing this. Respect. I don't know what else to say about this other than the fact that this cannot go on. Okay? This is insane. It's complete
Yeah, Israel got to get checked. They have to be checked. Our financial and foreign problems, our international problems, Israel is a factor in both of those problems. Those issues we have right now, Israel is contributing to those two issues. So.
Sanity. What can you say?
I'm certainly probably the first American politician who's been detained by the IDF and Israeli settlers. I mean, we were at a village that Israeli settlers had destroyed. They had destroyed the school. They had destroyed that village, and we were just looking at it. And these hoodlums come in with machine guns, an M4, an American-made machine gun, and they detain us. They block off the road. And then they call the IDF, and the IDF...
Here's the funny part about this, or like the ironic part about this. Are you ready? Most of these settlers, a lot of these settlers, maybe not these guys, but a lot of these settlers are American citizens. If they were to do this in the United States of America to Ro Khanna, they would be in perma jail. They would be under the jail. Can you imagine if a bunch of masked thugs, not the ICE agents, but if a bunch of masked thugs that have no law enforcement capabilities whatsoever were to do an armed insurrection, a bunch of hogs came up to Ro Khanna and were like, get in the car, we're detaining you, they would be in prison. Even with our current system, even with this administration, they would be in prison. I'm sorry, guys. I know we say like, no, not under this admin. If they were ICE, they wouldn't. ICE does this all the time. But these are random people. They have no law enforcement capabilities. They just have guns that we gave them, ironically enough. Itamar Ben-Gvir gave them our guns that we shipped over there so they could form a militia.
is on their side, not on the side of the Americans.
Kana is on a 3-day trip to the West Bank as he weighs a potential presidential run in 2028. Support for Israel in the U.S. has fallen significantly, especially among Democrats, where a progressive young wing of the party has been highly critical of Israel.
I saw the arrogance in the eyes of those settlers, 21 and 22-year-olds with guns, laughing that they had detained us. The arrogance of those young IDF soldiers that my tax dollars are funding, having no respect for the fact that they were detaining Americans, no respect that there was an American congressperson in that bus, and laughing when our translator told them that there are Americans there and the American embassy is concerned.
Kana says the issue of Israel, Gaza, and the West Bank will be a moral...
Yeah, we're paying for the military over there. Why isn't the military there protecting the congressman? What the fuck? This is stupid.
...test for his party.
It is the arrogance of power, of a power that has had no accountability, total impunity.
Ro Khanna is reaching GOAT status at alarming levels, by the way. I'll say it. Ro Khanna is straight up reaching GOAT status slowly but surely at first, and now just, I don't know. It's completely out of control.
And it's created a toxic culture of oppression.
Like, think about this, man. This is Ro Khanna, the same Ro Khanna, and yet so different. The same Ro Khanna that I had a conversation at the DNC. Remember?
I do not want another Trump presidency. And I personally fear that, electorally speaking, obviously I think it's unconscionable. I consider what Israel is doing to be a genocide. I consider Israel, alongside all of these human rights groups, to be an apartheid state even when it's not conducting offensive operations in Gaza.
Would use different language in characterizing Israel. I mean, what I believe is that Israel is illegally occupying the West Bank and Gaza, and that that occupation is illegal. But I've been to Israel. I think Israel should exist as a secure state, and that Israel is an ally. But we should be against the occupation. We should be for a two-state solution, and we should recognize a Palestinian state.
I had a talk with him at the DNC. It was public. You can go and watch it. Then another talk here at my house during Christmas time, right around the Epstein files release. It's called opportunism, brother. There's opportunism, and then there's straight up going to the West Bank and then getting detained by.
Yeah. We just need to check them. We don't need to fund them. We don't need to be supporting a country that's massacring and killing innocent people.
All hell is breaking loose as the United States has been bombing Iran all day.
Dragging us into endless wars in the Middle East. I don't know what for.
In the morning, we saw massive strikes. There was a brief gap. And then for the past 5 hours, the United States has been striking Iran. We've been seeing visuals of the aftermath of some of these strikes. And Iran has been responding as well, striking back at United States military assets in nearby Arab nations. The United States military told the New York Times that today's strikes were significantly bigger than any of the recent strikes. CENTCOM put out a statement as well, saying that it was continuing to strike targets throughout the Strait of Hormuz and even deeper into Iran. Areas such as Keshem, Sirik, Bandar Abbas, Josk, Bushehr, where there's a nuclear power plant, and the area where this nuclear power plant was hit as well. Kanda, Bandar, Mashar, Bandab, Densville.
And just like in Ukraine, like any damage to nuclear power plants or any thoughts about nuclear weapons, that's danger for not only the country but the nearby country, because nuclear material travels through the air, water, ground, and it'll affect everybody around us. So overall, war is just not good for anybody. It really isn't. The only real use of force is when you have to defend yourself. So it's like we don't ever get rid of the military completely, but as a military complex right now, it's being abused, and because of the abuse, we have to tailor it back. Reinvest that money in health and education.
Lafaz, Abadan, and Korshmar were all hit by the United States. Let me just share this photo with you right here. This is a violent strike that was seen in Sirik in Iran. Also, take a look at this massive plume of black smoke rising from Keshem Island near the Strait of Hormuz following the heavy U.S. bombardment earlier in the day. Let's play this clip. Now, earlier in the day, in response, Iranian forces carried out an attack targeting the ATACMS. Those are those ground-to-ground missile systems, those HIMAR ATACMS systems in Kuwait. 3 Iranian missiles seem to directly connect and strike and destroy these American ATACMS right here. Let's take a look at this video as well. Notably,
it's just bullying at this point. In Cuba, oh my god, we're bullying Cuba for no fucking reason, bro. It's so bad.
That area in Kuwait where the Iranian forces carried out this strike against those ATACMS, that appears to be a former UN base at the Kuwait-Iraq border area, very close to Iran. So the Iranian facilities that were hit, a MQ-4C Triton drone hangar was destroyed by Iran in the Prince Hassan Air Base in Jordan. A hangar was damaged at the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. The Iranians were able to strike a storage facility at the U.S. 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. Also, that area in Kuwait that we just showed you there. The U.S. targeted an area right by this Bushehr nuclear power plant. The plant itself doesn't seem to be hit, but some of the surrounding areas seem to have been targeted. Again, very close, which would have not just destroyed power to Iran.
Millions upon millions of money. The military is asking for more money because out of the $900 billion, the nearly $1 trillion budget that they have spent all of that money, and they need more money for this war. We always have money for war. We never have money for healthcare.
It's not where nuclear weapons are being made, but that's an important power source, not just for Iran, but for surrounding Arab nations as well. Also, Iran's largest petrochemical hub in Mashhar seems to have been hit by these U.S. airstrikes, and then Iran responded by targeting a drilling platform owned by a Kuwait oil company was targeted by an Iranian drone, this according to the Kuwaiti army. So we're back to these infrastructure for infrastructure strikes. Turning our attention to the Strait of Hormuz right now, there's been virtually no traffic through the Strait of Hormuz at all. A ship or two that's either Chinese based or Chinese affiliated or Iran affiliated using the Iran route. Now it's possible there are other tankers and VLCCs that are turning their tracking devices off so they can't be seen, but Iran has been targeting those ships, and so it doesn't appear there are any ships at a meaningful volume leaving the Strait of Hormuz, which, as we reported earlier, has been effectively shut down by Iran. Donald Trump's posting lunatic photos right now. I mean, he just posts these photos. They appear to be AI enhanced of fighter jets, and then he's posting AI images of airplanes, military jets flying over Washington, D.C. And meanwhile, you have CENTCOM posting the following. The Strait of Hormuz is open for transit. It's open, everybody. They're trying to manipulate the market, obviously, and it's just not working anymore. The Strait of Hormuz is open to all vessels seeking to lawfully transit the international waterway. U.S. forces are positioned and prepared.
It's like if they're trying to just speak it into existence, and it's not gonna be happening, bro. It's not gonna be happening.
To ensure that freedom of navigation remains available despite unwarranted Iranian aggression, harassment, threats, and arbitrary declaration, Iran does not control the Strait of Hormuz. Traffic is flowing. But if you actually look at this graphic as well, notice what it says. Strait of Hormuz open for transit. Pathways for free transit through the Strait of Hormuz remain open. Iran does not control the international waterway, this CENTCOM graphic says. And it says 140 ships have transited the strait in the last 7 days. So even if you accept that as true, before Donald Trump and Netanyahu launched the unlawful and catastrophic war in Iran, there was 140 to 150 ships a day that went through the Strait of Hormuz. Now they're bragging right now, 140 ships every 7 days. Even if you accept what they're saying as true, which we know they lie about everything. Also, CENTCOM posted this. The Iranian commander for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard recently said on state-owned media that no foreign vessels may pass through the Strait of Hormuz without being identified, tracked, and monitored by Iranian forces. Fact. Iran does not control the Strait of Hormuz. It remains an international waterway. U.S. forces are positioned and prepared to keep it that way. Actually, we've seen the Abraham Lincoln supercarrier and the George H.W. Bush actually move back in the Strait of Hormuz.
Because they
and not
were
all that close.
targets for the Iranian military. Oh man, that sucks. Alright, let's get on to woke is coming back. You know what? Because they're like, people are like, you know what? Being kind to each other and using our tax dollars for them is a lot better than bombing Iran for Israel.
Put together half of a donkey and half of a camel and then ride to victory on the synthetic hybrid. By the way, would that be a donkel? A camkey? Does it have a hump? Does it spit? I don't know. But that was actually something written by an actual federal judge about an actual Florida law, and it might be the single greatest legal insult of the year. And no, the judge was not talking about Stephen Miller, surprisingly. So look, Florida's Stop Woke Act tried to ban public university professors from teaching things that the state didn't like. Things like race and gender, on the theory that because the state pays the professor's salaries, the state owns everything the professor gets to say in class. And on Tuesday, the 11th Circuit ruled 2-1 that this violates the First Amendment clearly. And the judge that wrote the majority opinion, Britt Grant, is a Trump appointee. This wasn't some liberal woke activist judge that Lil Ronnie DeSantis can waive.
Seems like the activist judge is the one who voted against it.
No, this was one of Donald Trump's own picks shooting down DeSantis's culture war. And Judge Grant's opinion is a genuine work of art. I've got it linked in the description below. Make sure you read it. But she wrote that Florida's argument would give the state total control over the professor's classroom speech, and that hearing an idea you disagree with is not discrimination. It's an opportunity to come up with a better idea, or maybe even change your mind. The judge called Florida's approach a breathtaking assertion of power to ban unpopular ideas from public discourse in the very places that the state's own laws recognize as center.
It's like they're doing everything that they claimed was happening under Biden. Like, oh, they're indoctrinating people, turning our kids liberal, forcing trans ideology. They're like, all right, now that we have power, we're gonna throw pro-life at you, get you in trouble if you are woke, like all this shit. It's like, yo, one, it wasn't really happening under Biden. Again, we're just deciding as a culture we don't need to be killing each other. We don't need to be rude to each other. We can go ahead and, believe women, and we can hold men accountable for their dastardly deeds. We can be focused on helping us. What is that? In the U.S. and not bombing people in Iran.
Of inquiry. That's from a Trump-appointed judge describing DeSantis' law like it came out of an actual dystopian novel. And the free speech group that brought this case pointed out that 6 other federal appeal circuits have already landed in the same place, that the First Amendment protects faculty when they teach. Florida wasn't just wrong. It was the lone holdout insisting that the entire rest of the country had this backwards. So tell me in the comments, what's a class you took, college, high school, whatever, that completely changed how you thought about something? I want to hear from you in the comments, because that exact moment is what DeSantis has spent the last 4 years and a pile of Florida taxpayer dollars trying to make illegal. For me, I had a couple of classes that approached the Bible. I was a political science and religion major, not a theology major, religions. But they approached the Bible from historical and secular perspectives. It was fascinating. But in this situation, Florida's Attorney General James Uthmeier, who looks like that barback that keeps asking if you've listened to his band's new CD yet, he promises it's great. He didn't take this loss quietly. Uthmeier posted that the ruling means, quote, public university professors have a First Amendment right to teach white supremacy and critical race theory. That's what he posted. But just because you post it, James Uthmeier, doesn't make it true. One, it's not remotely what the ruling says. And two, that's an incredible thing to type when your administration has been pushing garbage like Turning Point USA and PragerU in our schools.
And, like, you can't... you can't be saying they're teaching woke policies and now they're going to start teaching about white supremacy and critical race theory. Like, no, they're doing the opposite, and that's why you tried to make a law against doing that.
Which PragerU's educational materials are wild, especially when it comes to trying to talk about white supremacy. Yikes. And look, the dissenting judge here, Barbara Lagoa, she argued that Florida acted within its authority. And of course, Uthmeier praised her online too, saying that she might be the best jurist in the country and should be on the Supreme Court. Ha. Look, this case drew supporting briefs from across the entire map and across the entire political spectrum. The Cato Institute, the National Education Association, Latino Justice, policing scholars, all telling the court the same thing from wildly different directions. The state doesn't get to script what a professor says in front of a room full of adults who choose to be there, period. And this is not DeSantis' first loss on this exact same law, by the way. The same court has already struck down the workplace training part of the Stop Woke Act years ago. So this is just round 2, another loss of Ron DeSantis losing to the First Amendment on the same statute.
We have an ability to just draw a line in the sand and say that's not the type of society that we want.
The district court that originally blocked this law back in 2022 called it positively dystopian. Now, Ron DeSantis can still ask the full court to rehear this, or he can run it up to the Supreme Court, so this is far from over. But right now, a Trump-appointed judge just told Florida's little culture war mascot that you...
Where do you find shirts that match your eyes? That's what I want to know.
You cannot legislate around the document that you conservatives claim to worship. The Constitution, you cannot legislate around it just because you don't agree with something. You cannot build an entire brand about owning the libs in a classroom and still say, you know what? Screw the Constitution. Subscribe, because I will love watching whatever embarrassing loss comes to Ron DeSantis next, and I will report it here.
Ooh, okay.
Over the last week, I have, when we talk about funny or sad, I think it's more sad than funny.
Yeah.
He has one ability I don't have.
Yeah.
He sleeps. He can sleep. This guy goes on a beach and he lays down on one of those, 6 ounce, they weigh 6 ounces and you can't lift it.
Yeah.
They're meant, no, they're meant, he has an ability to fall asleep while on camera. He can lie down on one of those things, and in minutes, he's stone cold out.
How does he do
And he's
it?
got cameras
How does
because
he
he's the
do it?
president, so they have cameras on him. And then they show him sleeping on the beach.
Yeah.
You'll never see me sleeping in front of camera.
How do we get you better at that?
Remember the MAGA comedians?
During the earliest years of their children's lives. Second, we are cutting unnecessary red tape. Red tape that forced providers to close, limited access to care, and made it harder for working families.
Pharmaceutical cost. So Trump RX has brought a lot of the prices of
He's
medications
asleep.
down.
Oh,
For me personally,
I've been that tired before.
one
I've
of the
been that
main
tired before.
medicines
When I
that
stay up
people
all
use.
night. When I party too hard. When I don't get my good 8 to 9 hours of sleep. When I don't, eat right. I fall asleep like that at work.
For egg retrievals, and that I could not find it anywhere on any other website or for cheaper.
He's trying to wake
that
up.
comprehensive nature of whether you're staying home or you're going to face
He's literally trying. He's like, oh, I gotta keep my eyes open. But it feels so good to close them. Oh, I gotta keep them open. But it feels
And now
so
they
good.
help all of us get to this point in our
I gotta
country's
open them
history.
wide.
It's tough now because
wake
the
up.
podcasters have become just kissers for the politicians, right? They don't challenge them. They just like, yeah, that's cool, right? This is my problem also with comedians. They became experts and podcasters. No offense, but Jesus Christ. You're just a comedian. And by the way, that's my defense of them. You're just a comedian.
Comedian and actor Zach Galifianakis would torch them in an interview with Vulture.
You're the only person that gave him. I mean, I know that this in any way was just you doing your comedy, but you were so rude as that person, and it's hilarious because I don't think anyone's talked to. Certainly a sitting president, or even in this time, no one's talked that way
Well, all
to
the
a president.
podcasters that have had the president on now, they don't do their court gesture. They don't do it. They suck up to him.
Yeah.
So the comedians that are podcasters that have had Trump on, they're not doing their job.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the job of a comedian. You are to challenge.
And on Conan, where he went off on, for example, this monstrosity.
One of the beautiful things about you is that you freeball. Like, you get out and you do these huge events and you're just talking and you're making. We've highlighted you on the show many times when you did this Biden impression where he's walking around, he doesn't know what he's doing. It's funny. It's stand up. It's funny stuff. But it's like you and you were making fun of Elon one time. You were doing an Elon.
Bro, how embarrassing. I even forgot about that, bro. Wow, nice clip to bring up about Rogan. This is a fucking embarrassing.
That kind of stuff was unheard of as a politician. Like, no one had done that. And I think
it's funny, you need at least the attitude of a comedian when you're doing this business.
Just a slobber fest from a man like Joe Rogan, who bills himself as an anti-establishment figure.
Yeah. You are to make uncomfortable. You're not to sit there and fake laugh. Yep.
That is not the job of the court jester.
Yeah.
Period. So
Yeah.
there is a difference. People were actually, somebody yesterday was talking to me about that, about, political influence through comedy and all that stuff. I'm more interested in the comedy first.
And you know what? He's right. He would share more with Conan. Quote, I remember when I interviewed former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and I could tell she did not want to be there. And I totally get that. I get it. But before we had set that whole thing up, they wrote back, well, you can't bring up those emails. And I go, well, we don't have to do the interview. That's fine. We won't do it. When you tell powerful people, no, it's crazy, he said. They were like,
Fuck
okay,
AI.
you could ask. Because it's not that important to me to do it the way they want to do it. This is a point that fellow comic Mark Maron would state many times, but in this case, via Vulture on YouTube.
They thought that their fight was really about free speech, which wasn't on a constitutional basis. So the entire premise of we're being denied our free speech was based in the active kind of movement of democracy to move forward.
Yeah. When you say anti-woke comics, either you can say specific names, or what do you think of, or who do you think of, or what are you imagining for people who maybe are less familiar with?
There's the wormy way to handle it, like Bill Maher, where you're like...
Right now, Iran is targeting U.S. vessels in the Strait of Hormuz.
Like, hey, I'm as liberal as the next guy. But the liberals have gone too far with this thing. People are getting canceled or whatever. But those were corporate decisions based on I think a misread of the public sentiment. In honoring, which it was good that they did. The kind of the kind of fragility of minority communities. Based in ethnicity or gender, sexual gender stuff. And, Rogan and Hinchcliffe and, just a lot of these people just locked into this anti-woke thing. But now, the government, which is for all practical, good intents and purposes, is an authoritarian government. And we have a fairly dominant fascistic culture. Yeah. So they're using the same language, which is anti-woke, to dismantle all progressive institutions. And, whether you like it or not, or whether that's not what you signed up for, you tied yourself to that horse. This is the reality, is that, democracy was squashed because of, the policy now of using anti-woke to dismantle the liberal democratic state is something you didn't shut up about.
Yeah.
I don't think it's difficult to understand where Zach Galifianakis is coming from, because not only is he very accomplished and distinguished in his field, but he also hosted Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton on his show Between Two Ferns. Legendary. You had to be there. I mean, the clips on E-Bomb's World, remarkable. And what he did was showcase how a comedian can really bring it out of a politician and not just glaze them over and over again. Zach Galifianakis, with that Hillary exchange, proved, I don't need this. You're going to try and limit what we can and cannot talk about. I just won't do it altogether. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Theo Vaughn was like, no, sorry, man. I'm not going to do that one. You're telling me I can't talk about dead kids in Gaza? Nope, not going to do it. He would never. Why? Because he's pro-establishment. Andrew Schultz, Akash Singh. I don't care if he stepped away from the podcast. His hands are also dirty with all of this stuff and leading us into fascism, yucking it up and laughing with a fascist. My God. But can you imagine if they were like, yeah, we're not going to host him because you guys are trying to limit the conversation. It just wouldn't happen. Would never happen. I mean, Joe Rogan, the fact that he sees Trump as a comedian is alarming. Truly alarming. The only thing that I would say about this is that I would love for them to say are bad. And it's up to you if you forgive them. I won't. I don't. But at some stage,
exactly.
when do they
I don't have
see
empathy for
that
them.
they help lead not just all of us, but also their audiences to the wolves. And as Marin says, it's hack comedy. The Tony Hinchcliffes, the Joe Rogans, the Andrew Schultzes, it's all hack. And I agree, it's complete hack.
There's so much empathy that you actually suicide yourself.
Yeah.
So
That's so
we've got
stupid. So stupid. So stupid. Hold on, we're gonna watch that. Alright. We're gonna watch that.
I knew I was gonna get something there.
The current score is 3-2 with liberals in the lead, and the time is up for this prompt. So we're going to move on to the next prompt.
Why does every website suddenly know everything about me? I searched one thing, one time, and now every ad is like, hey man, rough week? And don't even get me started.
The next checkmate prompt is, which party is more bigoted and discriminatory? Republicans or Democrats? The team with the least amount of points will start this round. So Micah, you will start, and your time starts now.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we can both agree that there are examples on both sides that we would say are bigoted and false, and we could point to individual examples. Do you
Yeah,
agree?
I mean, historically or present day, I think that you can point to examples of prejudice for sure.
Yeah. Something that I think actually shows a little bit more of a trend on this when it comes to the left is just the amount of leftists that are okay with political violence. And I think that's really the ultimate form of bigotry and discrimination is when you're willing to.
Why would you take off your shirt like that? Like, what the fuck? Why would you do that?
Commit violence towards someone else just because of their political views.
So just to confirm, are we debating the overall attitudes of movements that's political, or is it specifically the parties? Because I don't know any politician within the Democratic Party that's endorsed that.
At least the prompt, was the parties.
Right.
But obviously, like, leftists make up Democrats. So
Okay, well, let's talk about
clear
party, because I'm not going to agree that we should be endorsing political violence, especially against like prominent conservatives. I know you're referring to the big CK, rest in peace, rest his soul. For the parties themselves, like, I'm really excited about this format because every time conservatives talk about trans issues, there seems to be this obfuscation from like empirical data into like this more fear-mongering mindset towards trans people. So now that we have fact checks that are here, would you say there's like an epidemic of trans shooters, like national figures like Matt Walsh or Michael Knowles have claimed?
Well, I think you're moving away from what I was saying to begin with, but I wouldn't necessarily claim that.
Okay, cool. So we finally have conservatives, because they're being fact-checked, agree that that's not a political issue.
Well, it's also actually just because I'm separate from like Knowles and Matt Walsh.
Well, I'm
I
just
don't
saying
hold to everything they hold to.
Right, but I'm saying more
you've
so
ignored what I brought up in the beginning.
Specifically for the Republican Party, like Donald Trump, for instance, made it one of his first priorities when getting back in office to specifically tackle the trans issue. Do you believe that was a culture war move, or that's indicative in reality and empirical data?
So again, you're just ignoring everything
So
that I
we're
brought
not
up
gonna
at the
address that.
beginning.
No,
Well,
I
no, because you don't want to address it. Because I think no.
I see that someone pressed it, but Dominique, did you press the button?
Yeah.
All right, what claim did you want fact checked?
Trump targeting trans people.
Day one executive order. Day one executive order.
What was the specific, do you remember what he said?
Yeah, the Trump administration's policy of targeting trans children.
Whoa, children.
Or
trans people.
Trans people.
All right, fact checkers, do your thing.
Grok.
You should probably let it go for a little bit longer, but
yeah, sorry.
That might turn.
You claim the Trump administration
They're all mad at her.
targeted trans people on day one. Fact checkers have come to a verdict, and they say it is true. The second Trump administration made transgender policy an explicit and prominent early priority. On day one, Trump signed an order to restore, quote, biological truth in federal policy, but ordered the DOJ to target supposed radical gender ideology. All right, so that's +1 point for the liberals. The current score is now 4-2. So Micah, thank you, but we're gonna have to return to the podium. All right, Dominique, we're gonna start with you, and the clock starts now.
Okay, so going back to the fact check that I got wrong, I think just the talking about rights and whose rights. So, for example, even like men and biological men in women's sports. So to me, I view that as protection of women's rights, not the taking away of trans rights.
Yeah, and I understand the perspective. I've heard it said a lot by prominent conservatives. So my argument was not that Trump's sending like the military after trans people, even though he did just classify pro-transgender groups as anti-American that should like receive law enforcement going after them. But that's a whole different issue. I think that specifically when it comes to the targeting of trans people with legislation. So since 2023, we've seen an uptick in specific anti-trans laws. The reasoning for that.
And the prompt is about discrimination. Like, this is like, there is only one party that discriminates and targets peoples of minorities. Hi, how you doing? Thank you. And it is definitely not the Democratic Party. It's the fucking Republican Party.
Examples and like what they're specific.
Yeah, for sure. So like bathroom bills, like Nancy Mace made a big spectacle about trying to ban Sarah McBride from
Thank you for the compliment.
using the Capitol Hill restroom, or when we see specifically when it comes to like gender affirming care restrictions in places like Texas and Florida, even though gender
For
affirming.
what ages?
Well, first, the Indoctrinating Society has already stated, and as well as the American Medical Association, that gender-affirming medicalization care is not prescribed to anybody under the age of 12 years old. So there's no medical professional that has prescribed that, like no cases.
Yeah, I would
Want
even
to fact check that?
Am I supposed to?
You can keep talking. Sorry, I was just trying to bait them into fact checking.
Yeah, bro, he's a player. He is a player. Look at that. He's literally a chess player. He's like, yo, I literally do this for the whole fucking every day.
Okay, so I think there's like a few things here, right? So in
Yeah.
California, I think they have AB 1955, which encourages schools to allow adolescents to socially transition, and they don't have to relay that to the parents.
Right, so socially transition.
Parental rights.
So this is completely different than medicalization. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for the
So we're moving
follow.
off medicalization because you see that argument.
I appreciate
see
you.
the argument,
Should we
'cause
focus
even-
on medicalization then instead
Okay,
of going
but
to
we're
social
talking-
transition?
Okay, can we talk about both, and can I address the
Sure. Which
the
one
age
would you like
as
to
well?
talk about first?
Okay, so you're talking about the age of 12.
Yeah.
A lot of people haven't even finished puberty by the age of 12.
Correct, which is why it's not recommended by medical professionals.
Right, but even then, someone can't get a tattoo when they're 18. You can't smoke. You can't join
True.
the army. So if you're going to do it irreversible, so let's say from 12 to 18, you can
So
make that decision.
what are the requirements, and I'd love to hear your interpretation of this. What are the requirements for somebody to receive gender affirming care in this country?
I'm assuming that is a state by state.
Right. Well, let's say like California, you'd say that's probably the most lenient when it comes to gender affirming care.
You seem to know so much. So why don't you tell me how?
I do know a lot because
Yeah,
I think this
walk
is an
me
important
through it.
issue.
Walk
Okay,
me
so
through
there's
it.
a couple things that you have to go through before you're able to get authorized for medical gender affirming care.
Mhm.
The first one is excessive analysis between healthcare providers and parental consent. That's number one. Number two, it's the age. It's age gated. So like I said, 12 years old, nobody's getting prescribed that below that age. And three, it's the stage of puberty. The stage of puberty. So just like you mentioned, everyone goes through puberty at different times. Some people do it earlier.
All right, I see you pushed your button, Micah. What would you like to fact check?
That parental consent is one of the requirements for gender affirming care. Gender affirming care.
There should say exceptions if you don't have parents. Like.
We're talking about California.
Always.
We're talking about
It should be always a necessity, though.
Yeah, 'cause he said it was
always.
When they're over
Right.
18?
No, I said no. Here's what specifically I
Parents
said.
or legal guardian?
He said requirement, and then he started listing out different requirements, and in that he said parental consent.
Correct.
All right, Mason, you stated that parental consent is a requirement for gender affirming care in California. The fact checkers checked, and that is true.
Thank you.
In the state of California, parents do need to provide
Got
consent
him.
to a doctor for a minor to begin receiving.
Got them. Yes, all those lies that they tell. I love this format. I really love that they can't get away with just talking their bullshit. This should happen more.
Gender affirming care. The score is currently 5-2, with liberals still in the lead. Thank you, Dominique, but we're going to have you return to the podium. All right, so Matt, you'll start, and the clock starts now.
Hello.
So I think when we're looking at discrimination, obviously, like racial discrimination is like an important factor in this country.
Yeah, so we're moving away from the trans stuff, right?
Just for a second. Yeah, I'm not conceding something I didn't argue.
That's so stupid. Like, for real, it's like you could just be like, yeah, okay, whatever. We're moving on from the trans thing. You literally run like 2 rounds, because they're so wrong on trans issues. Like, damn. So go ahead. It's like, yeah, okay, we're moving on from that. Well, let's talk about racial discrimination, and let's talk about the Democrats, and then see what kind of bullshit he comes up with.
Conservatives don't have
in reference to
data on
discrimination,
that.
just hold on. Equal Protection Clause was what the Civil Rights Act of 1965, specifically Title VII, was based off of, right? That all people in this country be treated equally, and that federal law should prohibit any racial discrimination when it comes to job hiring, anything in reference to just any sort of field. Now, in reference to the American Medical Association specifically, in reference to the MCAT scores, people that are black, people that are specifically of Hispanic race, for example, or Hispanic ethnicity, you could say, can indeed get into medical school with lower, on average, MCAT scores. That is an objective fact that we still measure, even after the Supreme Court ruling in 2023. And so that is going to be an instance of discrimination. For example, if like black people, right, had to get like higher MCAT scores on average to get into certain universities, that would be looked at as discrimination or as bigoted. That is something that Democrats have promoted because obviously Republicans are not advocating for affirmative action or any sort of policy in reference to that.
So for me,
What did you guys just say?
I think that affirmative action is absolutely a nuanced issue. I think that you can talk about the reasons for inequitable admissions and making sure that you're allowing everybody to come to the table with equal footing. But I also understand, the argument that there are some people that are disenfranchised because of that, like Asian Americans when they apply. So I'm not here specifically wholeheartedly to advocate for affirmative action. But if you want to talk about
discriminatory?
Yeah, I think that there's an argument for affirmative action being discriminatory.
Okay, there you go. Well, that's a Democrat proposed policy that is discriminatory towards like whites.
But I don't think that in itself means that the Democratic Party overwhelmingly is more discriminatory versus the Republican Party, who specifically targets vulnerable groups, like trans people. If you want to talk about trans stuff, I'm sure you're.
You already mentioned like trans stuff, but let me.
So you want to
talk about the racial parts because I'm black. The press person here. So, just in reference.
That's fair. See, even there, he's like, you know what? You can say that affirmative action is like racist. I'm not gonna take that away from you, but if it's still in the history of the Republican and Democratic policies, that is one that was good intention but may have outlived its use. Yes, that is just one out of the other versus the 100 policies that are discriminatory and bigoted. Like, they're literally trying to erase people's citizenship. They want to kick people out that have their that are that are immigrants. They're like, we want to denaturalize you. We want to denaturalize and deport you. This is a regular argument I have with fucking assholes on the internet.
Like racial aspects of certain things. Like, what is the main reason, for example, Democrats say that like black people on average commit more crimes than whites?
So we typically see communities that have higher homicide rates also correlate with things like communities who were redlined through federal policy. For communities that also were excluded from the GI Bill. From communities who have.
What he means by redlined is the legislatures or the realtors society had put a red line on areas where minorities could not live north of. And I think also redline specifically talks about how they wouldn't sell to minorities in certain areas.
Had decades and decades of divestment from public infrastructure. So there seems to be a heavy correlation between poverty and crime.
So socioeconomic factors, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So why is it that even after we account for socioeconomic factors, Hispanics and blacks still commit a disproportionate amount of crime in reference to white people?
What about with Asian people? You'd say Asians commit less crime, right?
Yeah,
As
Asian,
total?
East Asian specifically, because Asians is a broad term.
Right.
I don't want to use the term Asians
That's
because
right.
it lumps in different groups, and that's just
Look at this
not
guy. He
intelligent
came
to do.
prepared. Yeah,
right.
because
So
Laotian
East
people,
Asians.
Cambodian people.
Right. Yeah,
the Southeast commit.
Right. This is
literally at the same
I'm
level.
glad that we
as
agree.
Latino and Black
Yeah, I'm glad that we
Yeah.
agree that hasty generalizations
But why?
are not good.
But-
and this
but-
is why we have to have like a
Yeah.
more right. So my explanation for this would be cultural reasons also, and like
So
cultural and
Laotian-
familial. Hold on
you're
for a
saying-
second. Hold on for a second. Hold
Yes,
on for a
go
second. So cultural and familial reasons, I think, is the reason why. There may be a higher homicide rate, for example.
It's in their culture to kill people. It's in their culture to have to steal fucking baby formula and diapers. Like, come on, bro.
Amongst black people or Hispanic people than, for example, obviously like white people. Because what we do find, and you guys can all fact check this as well, is even after accounting for socioeconomic
You're
factors,
talking
for
to me
example-
right here, buddy.
Right,
You're talking
right.
to me.
You
So let's
and your
focus.
whole team, I want them to fact check me on this.
Yeah. Well,
so
can I
even,
explain
even
this
after
a
we
little bit?
account, like for example,
I have to give your team a chance to get points, my dude. You guys are so far behind.
Let him
me
finish his
talk.
point. Let him finish his point.
Oh, Matt?
Right. So, for example, I think I saw a data set on this that even black kids that come from the wealthiest families, right, still commit just almost the same amount of crime.
So stupid. So stupid.
Or even more, for example, than, for example, white kids that come from like $30,000 median household income. Perfect. Get that one.
All right, Evan, I see you push your button. Which claim would you like fact checked?
That black kids from wealthy neighborhoods commit as much or if not more violent crime than kids from sub 30K households
that are white.
That are white, yeah.
All right, fact checkers, do your.
Bro, that he definitely does not watch YouTube. Like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I watch a lot of body cams. I fucking watch cops. I watch true crime all the fucking time. And let me tell you, it is definitely some white country folks who are always challenging officers and charging officers. Ooh.
I don't even think there is data on that.
We're gonna lose because what's gonna happen, the number is that the highest decile of blacks commit slightly
What did she just spray in her mouth?
less crime than the lowest decile of whites.
So, Matt, you claim that black kids from wealthy families commit as much or more crime than poor white families. The verdict is in, and that is false.
Yes!
Let's support this claim. It is overly broad and is not backed by data.
Overly broad.
Yeah, bro. Get the fuck out of here. You're such a... You definitely read something and your own mind, you read it and it confirmed what you already thought in your head. And you're like, all right, I'm going to throw this one out there. Fucking
and not back
We don't have time. I bet you it could take me 10 seconds to find the source. It's just too inflammatory for them.
Okay, we can check after the show.
Yeah,
Should
it's
have said
it's
arrest.
you're not gonna admit that.
And even then, it might still be wrong.
You want to bet $100?
$100.
Sure,
Let's
I'll
do
bet
it.
$100.
Okay,
Oh,
bet.
there you go.
$100.
Face off.
$100.
Wait, he said
Did you have $100 though?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
we'll do
bet
it.
you $100.
I mean, they're not going to admit it just because it's too inflammatory.
You said you can find it 10 seconds after the show.
Nice to meet you.
So I want to start with, I think you admitted earlier that you do think one of the major positions of the Democratic Party is discrimination.
Sure.
And then you believe that they're just less discriminatory because of other things Republicans do?
So I think if we're looking at metrics, right, we should probably balance which party is intentionally going after certain people. I've heard from some of the claims of the debaters that a big example of evidence of why the Democrats are more discriminatory are these leftists online that make fun of political creators that died.
That's one example.
Why
The example
is
I gave
this
you
guy
the Democratic
coming
Party
up?
you admitted to was them
Do
going
not
after white
recommend
and
this
Asian
channel.
students in discrimination with the practices because there's a select number of seats.
Wait,
and so
wait.
if you prioritize seats to one group, you have to, by definition, remove them from another group.
Sure.
And you don't think that makes them more discriminatory?
No, because do you want to go after the Republicans now?
We can do that, sure.
Yeah. So another thing about this format is if you keep pressing one issue that I'm conceding to, you're going to lose time to actually get points, which is not good for your team. So if you want
I'm
to
more
talk about
concerned about truth than about the points. The points are fun. I want to.
No. That's stupid. That's so fucking stupid. That is so stupid. Like, one, the truth gets you points. What? What?
But like,
yeah, I'm just concerned about truth too. So do you want to talk about the trans issue? Because nobody has got it.
Yeah, and we have to weigh these examples against each other, but absolutely,
Let's
talk
do
about
it.
any issue.
So, is the Republican Party intentionally discriminating against trans people?
Intentionally discriminating against trans people? It depends what you mean by discrimination, what you mean by trans
What
people.
would you say, yes or no?
I do not believe that the Republican Party is intentionally discriminating against trans people because I don't believe that a person who is claiming to be trans actually is trans.
So there's no such thing as gender identity or trans identity, right?
I believe people identify that way.
But you're saying that's not congruent in reality.
Yeah,
like there's no empirical data or empirical science that backs up gender identity.
There is empirical status.
Oh, wait. I thought you cared about truth.
No,
wait.
you cannot.
I just thought you cared about truth.
Bro, are these the only people they could find for the right? Like,
If you
wow.
care about truth, you won't cut me off
Yes,
like
sir.
that.
Truth.
Okay.
Truth nuke.
Okay. There is some data created by gender studies and other gender studies affiliated programs which try to suggest this. The empirical system of actual gender of male and female does not support these ideas, despite the fact that there is some evidence produced by organizations which have the intentional claim of. Yes, I call on you.
So
Go
what
ahead and speak.
What is the empirical system of male and female that you referred to?
The empirical system?
You said the empirical system of male and female. That's what
Yeah.
you said. What, can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so we want to talk about like what empiricism is versus rationality. And so like the idea of what makes something empirical would be about collecting evidence, either visual or primarily through either the scientific or the historical method.
Right. So what would you say the scientific consensus is on gender in America?
Oh, the majority of gender scientists believe that you can change your gender or that you could be a gender that is not
Let's
what
move
aligns
from
with your
gender
sex.
science. Let's
And
talk
those
about
people
let's
are
talk
not
about medicine.
right.
Let's talk about the American Medical Association. Let's talk about the American Psychiatric Association.
Yeah, these are politically minded organizations.
Ah.
I don't agree with you that they say that.
So they're not
and I
active
think
science.
they're wrong.
All right, I see. Z, you pushed your button? I did.
Politically minded.
Which claim would you like to fact check?
He said that the American Medical Association is a
Politically minded.
politically minded organization.
How did I fact check that so vague?
You feel like the
That is not vague. It's like they literally, it's like a bipartisan or what our federal agencies are supposed to do to protect us. It's like they're nonpartisan. They're only there to help citizens, whether they're Republican, Independent, or Democrat. Like, fuck me, bro.
politically biased.
Yes. Politically minded, and maybe I should have said biased.
Yeah.
What it sounds like is politically motivated.
Although politically motivated and minded.
Yeah, those are different things, unfortunately.
I think they're the same. That's what I meant by minded.
Oh, buddy, but words matter. Words matter when you're an adult. When you're getting older, words fucking matter,
Stated
bro.
the American Medical Association is a politically minded organization. The fact checkers checked, and the verdict is that is a true claim. The American Medical Association has a political action committee and engages in political advocacy, giving to both political sides of the aisle.
Right.
Wait, on both.
On a technicality.
He did say political and not partisan. He won on technicality, but he did win.
The current score is 6-3, with liberals still in the
That's
lead.
silly.
Jake, since you were correct, Mason, you'll have to head back to the podium.
Good talking with you.
Sorry, bro.
My bad, I encouraged it.
Oh, Charlie Kirk.
Look at his shirt.
Oh.
Show
we got
the
Charlie-
audience.
We got Charlie Kirk in the building. Okay. Z, we'll start with you, and your time starts now.
Okay, well, since we're talking about bigotry, I see that you have a shirt that says, I am Charlie Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I want to say that's offensive. Charlie Kirk actually called me the team of Charlie Kirk before he died, so
Cool.
I'm more Charlie Kirk.
Welcome.
I'm more Charlie Kirk than
I
you
love
are.
that.
But in fact, now we're speaking about this. Let's
You
actually
should try to vote like him.
Let's actually talk about Charlie Kirk, okay? So when we talk about bigotry, obviously Charlie Kirk comes up a lot, right? So, and I want to speak specifically about freedom of speech because, like, Charlie Kirk, this was like the main point
That
that
was
he
his whole
stood
thing.
for, right? So, how do you feel about after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and you know, you were talking earlier about how leftists were talking about all of those things that were you guys didn't like on the right? They said a lot of things that were
we didn't
you
like
found
you guys
offensive. I don't like-
celebrating murder.
Wait, you guys?
You as in the royal you. I was referring to people on the internet who are leftists who decided to celebrate
I'm not a
the
leftist.
murder. Again, you doesn't have to be the person I'm talking to.
You said you
can
guys.
be, yeah, I'm talking to a crowd and I say you guys, and one person in the crowd says I wasn't that. We're talking semantics now. Please talk politics.
Okay, so you're saying that the
Ooh, he got so feisty when it's a woman. That's so crazy. Just about like, well, again, words fucking matter, buddy. Words fucking matter. But why are you getting so spicy when a woman's coming to talk to you?
majority of Democrats online.
No.
Okay, so then so when you say leftists celebrated Charlie Kirk's
I said
murder,
some of them celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder. When you
that's
asked
actually
for
not
a
what you said, but
clarification,
okay, some
I
of them.
specified.
Sure, some of them
Because I was-
celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder.
Yes.
Okay, do you think those people should have been fired for what they did?
Do you think they should be fired for celebrating
Yes.
murder? Depends on what kind of job they're in.
Okay, who should be fired?
Well, I mean, if you're a teacher who celebrates murder, you probably shouldn't be employed by the government anymore to teach kids.
Is it not freedom of speech?
It is. It depends on what you mean by freedom of speech.
Oh, that was good. That was good. It depends on what you mean by freedom of speech. Nah, bruh. Oh, bless you. Bless you. Nah, bruh. Nah.
No, just answer the question. Is it or not freedom of speech? That's a yes or no question.
It's not. Can't get a yes or no answer to that question. I'm sorry. No.
Bless you. I mean, the courts have decided it is freedom of speech, and not only are the ones who got fired getting their jobs back, they're getting fat fucking payouts for being fired.
Politics is not a yes
Yes,
or no
no, it is a
space.
yes or no question.
If you
Either
wanna
it's
talk
for
about-
either it's for freedom of speech or it's not for
I
freedom
am
of speech.
always pro
Don't-
freedom of
this
speech,
is the problem with
but
your
the
side is that this is
specification
what
of
you
what.
guys do.
Oh, the problem is that we're nuanced.
No,
oh my God.
It's not that you're new.
That's not a nuanced thing. It's not a nuanced thing. If the president of the United States can do something like say, I'm glad that Robert Mueller is dead, then when a fucking bigot and a racist is dead too, they can celebrate it. I did not celebrate it. I'm not one to celebrate it. I was a little excited about Lindsey Graham, but Lindsey Graham did a lot more harm. Literally has a lot more bodies on him than Charlie Kirk.
Got me.
It's
Caught
that
me.
you don't
Nuance
no,
right
because
here.
it's that you don't want to say the truth. You know that it was wrong that they got fired. You know
if
that.
you are actually
No,
know
if you're
that.
a teacher,
You should
promoting people getting killed, you should probably be
Democrats want to talk in
You
general.
know
Both of them are like, no, you should get fucking fired. It's like, what the fuck? Oh my god, you such snowflake. Look at how angry they are. Look at this. Wow, I love how she brought this up. Ooh. She's great.
want to talk in nuance. There may have been a specific example that was wrong, but I want to give that to me. We can talk about
Okay,
that.
but
I'm talking about the teacher example with teachers.
okay.
Teachers should not be educating children if they support
Unfortunately-
murder for political reasons.
Unfortunately for you, that is not the definition of freedom of speech. So it doesn't matter what you care about. You didn't like the fact that people said that about Charlie Kirk, and I didn't either. In fact, I was a big fan of Charlie Kirk in the sense of he was a political operative that was a good political operative. Doesn't mean I agree with him what he did. I did not like the fact that Charlie Kirk was murdered.
I'm glad you don't like that.
It doesn't matter. Okay. It
No, I
doesn't
wouldn't
matter.
shake his hand. I'd be like, fuck you, bro. There's another thing. I'm not shaking these fucking people's hands. Like, no, fuck off. I don't want to touch you. Like, my love language is physical touch. Like, I don't want you. I don't love you, so I don't want to touch you. Goodbye.
Matter what you like or dislike. Freedom of speech is protecting freedom of speech that you hate. Okay? That's what it is. That's the United States of
Doesn't
America.
protect violent speech.
Nope.
Okay.
We weren't talking about violent speech. We can go into
Yeah, I see you press your button.
How's that
claim?
false?
Hold on now. Which claim would you like to fact check?
That freedom of speech is protecting freedom of speech that you hate.
Okay.
I'm fact checking that because the First Amendment specifically references speech in reference to Congress shall not oblige. It's specifically in reference to how the government is involved in regulating other people's speech.
We'll let the fact checkers do their job. So fact checkers, let us know.
Yeah, we didn't get into violent speech. We didn't get into anything yet with Charlie Kirk.
So Z, you claim that freedom of speech is protecting speech that you hate. The fact checkers have come to a verdict and is true. The First Amendment of the Constitution specifically protects freedom of speech, including opposing.
Bro, who do you work for? Who do you work for? You a operative from a foreign government that's here to try to subvert Gen Z into forever wars and this right-wing ideology? Like, oh my God, this isn't even. What has conservatism? What has that come to? Oh my goodness! And
Voltaire. No, that's not even what it meant. No.
Voltaire, yeah.
That's not what it meant. No,
I disagree with what you say, but I defend to the death your right to say it.
Yeah, Voltaire, bro.
Voltaire's government's involvement.
They were absolutely citing him, though.
Change sides, you're not going to have this problem.
You're an originalist. Yes, I am.
Yeah, bro. That's how the Constitution works. Prompt 3. Whose politics better? All right, we're gonna move on from this. I'm gonna see what this is
throwing
about.
his hat in the ring for mayor of New York City.
He's already done this, but I guess he wants to go on Actual Friends to talk to a bunch of actual friends.
This is, I don't know where he's.
Oh.
This is Actual Friends reacting to a clip of Dave Portnoy.
Oh, they couldn't get Dave?
I don't think
I guess he's not Actual Friends. So Dr. Drew and Dave Rubin have their thoughts on Dave Portnoy potentially challenging Zoran Mamdani in the next mayoral election, which is a few years away, by the way.
For society, but I'll tell you what I would do, which would be a little shift from Mamdani. He's got these idiotic politicians who don't know what the internet is, and he uses it like a weapon. He's never gone up against somebody who can be like, not so fast. Like, you think you're good at the.
I know you're not, bro. Look at your spray tan. Look at your fucking spray tan and tell me that you're trying to oust a brown man from New York City. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God, bro. Why? We must have cursed ourselves somewhere, and the curse is like just to be run by pompous, ignorant fucking men, bro.
The internet. I'm pretty good at the internet myself.
Oh.
So it would be a very different type of
What's being good at the internet,
for him.
Dave? What is that? Sliding into 19-year-old girls' DMs and bringing them over allegedly to your Nantucket house and then and violently sexually assaulting them, as was
did he?
Alleged in Business Insider, allegedly.
Or taking a bite of pizza and going 6.4.
Yeah.
6.4.
I know how to use the internet. And I mean, it's honestly so amazing to see these fragile men and conservatives that can't contend with the idea of delivering for people in a material way have to reduce Zoran's popularity to his social media activity. He's winning over older voters right now who aren't on the ticky-tacky buddy, and they're not getting the sexy videos. They're just seeing Zoran try to deliver for people.
Just more examples of how everybody in the mainstream media thinks voters are idiots.
Exactly.
It's just more examples. But what I really found funny in this is if you watch, they're trying, like, Dave and Jillian are trying to start a conversation about Portnoy. Dave Rubin is trying to start a conversation about Portnoy running for mayor and the excitement and trying to compare it to Spencer Pratt. But watch how Dr. Drew derails it into his own narcissism.
Oh, that's so great.
Him than what he's used to. It's almost like he's treating it like how I was treating Wall Street. They don't know what to do when he's making these cutesy videos.
I mean, Drew, what's your take on it?
Well, I mean, he's making the case for a political campaign like Spencer Pratt put on, right? And that worked. And so he's.
I hope he said it didn't work. I hope he said, yeah, Spencer Pratt lost by a lot.
Right, and I'm excited. I also know the feeling. I mean, I thought about getting into politics during the sort of COVID dark times here in California, and I was just like, we got to do something. Somebody's got to do something, and people go, you go do something. I'm like, okay. I don't think I'm right yet. Maybe I don't know, but somebody's got to do something. By the way, a friend of mine is an Army.
Oh my God, he really derails it.
Ranger, he goes, Your country needs you. I serve my time. Time for you to serve yours.
Wow. I disagree with that, by the way.
It gets under your skin.
How about mayor, boss?
Well, when those guys, I know, when those guys start talking to you like that, it gets under your skin. You feel like, okay, I've got a responsibility now.
Okay, get back to the subject, bro.
You gave your time. So, but it was not right for me.
As we celebrate 200.
Oh my God! Okay.
They got nothing done in that segment. It's just so funny to try to start a conversation. You know, an Army Ranger actually told me I could be, the country needs me.
Commercial break.
Now let's hawk some Bibles or whatever.
How illuminating. They were so mad that nothing of substance came from that. And then actual friend flashes up as three people who look like they have absolutely zero affection between them. Interact.
I kind of want to see how they recover.
Me too. I mean, maybe they'll move on to the substance of this Boston sports fan who has probably 4,000 tweets about how much
he's not even from New York? What? Where is Dave Portney from? Swampscott, Massachusetts, North Shore, about 15 miles north of Boston. He went to Michigan. He has zero ties to New York City, and he wants to become the New York mayor? Okay. That's fucking stupid. That's dumb.
Hates New Yorkers, running for the mayor of New York City because he knows how to take a bite of pizza on camera, and don't forget, union bust his workforce.
Right. Well, he has such a deep understanding of policy. If you remember when Mamdani was running for mayor, he said he just wanted to match corporate tax rates to New Jersey. Remember that? He said he wanted to raise them 2%. Portnoy said if he raises the tax is 2%. He's moving Barstool to New Jersey.
Yeah.
The taxes are the exact same.
Well, exactly. Well played, sir. But honestly, he should move his whole operation to Hoboken. That's like the exact Barstool constituency. Get out of New York.
We had dinner at my house one night, and he had brought it up that he was thinking about it. And obviously, I don't even know that Larry Elder had announced at that time, but I would have gladly supported both of them at the exact same time. The point was, more good people have to get involved.
Okay, wait.
Yeah,
How can you say that when the leader of your party is Donald Trump?
Literally was scribbling.
The actual friends here, that they need to each take a turn about making it about who they know.
He was actually having dinner at my house.
Right.
Army Wayne told me I should be mayor.
Thank you, Nick. This is, they don't know how to talk about politics in a way that doesn't completely center their own experience. So.
Spencer Pratt, as you said it, it's interesting because it's sort of like the next level. Like, okay, so the communists, the socialists, they're here.
Okay, keep going.
None of these people that just got elected. And remember, it's Democrat primary. So trust me, I'm as crazed about all this as you guys are, and I think it's as dangerous as everybody watching this thinks. But let's not forget, so far they're really out. Mamdani is the mayor, that's true. But the other three in New York last week, those are just Democrat primaries. So you got to hope that in a general election, the average person,
good luck,
you might be
yeah, they're like, yo, no, this is not in New York. They're gonna vote Democrat. Yeah, but what the fuck?
Just trying to white pill it for a second here. You might. Yeah, I get it. It's New York, and Drew Lordy has lived through it in LA.
Dave, this is thought through so meticulously. They have an entire strategy and a playbook, and it is working out beautifully, exactly like they planned. That is
because their policies and their interactions with their constituents are working and good.
Why they run in these deep blue districts. There's nominal voter turnout, like under 10% of the people in New York.
Okay,
that's not true. Vote. They know
She was telling the truth for the beginning.
What they are doing. She is telling the truth, and she's right. Yeah, we know what we're doing, and we're targeting the deeper blue districts first, and then we move on to the less deep blue districts once we gain power and show people that democratic socialism is the right way to be. And so we are organized, yes. I'm glad that she takes our threat seriously. It seems like Dave and Dr. Drew are a little bit too focused on
who they're having dinner
with.
Let's see this out.
I'm a trans youth activist who has stood up against Trump's attacks on transgender youth for the entirety of his second term. And I am very interested to see how they are reacting to a Trump administration that has made it their primary mission to target the LGBTQ community, especially that TQ, and basically just make it LGB. So the fact that this was labeled as a LGBTQ event for Trump is very strange to me.
If they were fully aligned with MAGA.
Be just LGB.
Yeah.
Like, only gay and lesbians.
Just LG. I'm thinking 5 people. What do you think?
Thinking maybe 7.
Okay, 5, 7. Let's see how many showed up.
It looks like it's all tourists.
Am I the one being trolled?
The fact that this is just such a tourist destination really freaks me out. Is there an LGBTQ for Trump event happening?
I'm not sure. I was just told to show up.
There is. Okay. Here's journalist.
Let's see if they'll let me in. My name is Walter Masterson. Are you letting press cover this event?
No.
Normally, the log cabin Republicans I historically spoke to, it's about taxes. If you make a lot of money, it's a financial move. There's been a lot of attacks against the LGBTQ community, and I just wonder, how you feel about that.
Yeah. Well, first off, obviously, any attacks against the LGBTQ community are not warranted at all. We don't promote that.
The Trump administration is they've taken the TQ off of any website, so it's just LGB, and this event is billed as an LGBTQ event. And this is, so are you MAGA? Or are you just a traditional Republican?
I'm just here to support the log cabin Republicans, but obviously there's no room for hate in any speech, so I can agree with that.
Because I've been very upset about the rhetoric that's gone on in the past.
And
they've made it seem like they've connected, trying to connect it with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I have to run, but obviously, look, I think that gays and all should stand together, not tear each other apart.
100%.
Here I was wrong. There's more than 3. Oh, okay.
You're here for the event too?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think of Trump's attacks on the LGBTQ community as a whole?
Well, why do I have to respond to that? I know, man. They told me they can't come in.
Okay, bet. Nah, they're serious, but Trump security guards are using the correct pronouns of trans people. He was like, sorry boss, sorry man, you can't come in here. We told you again and again. I think that's a small W.
How you doing? You here for the
That's funny. That's funny. Alright, one more video.
Oh, friends, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's here. I'm covering the story that so many of you have sent me.
Anti-Christian nationalist.
We gotta talk about it. So there's a viral clip that's been going around of a VBS, Vacation Bible School, really from hell. That's the only way I can describe it. Something has happened at this event that I just think is so, even for me, someone who tracks Christian nationalism, is just so shocking to have seen, but also incredibly telling in so many ways. So I want to show you that video, show you the pastor's response to this video going viral, and of course break down the Christian nationalism, the theology behind this, and help you hopefully understand why I think this type of worldview is so incredibly dangerous. Welcome back to the channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'm Tim Whitaker. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, friends, just kind of break down what is a Vacation Bible School. Let me just tell you what it's supposed to be, and then I'm going to play for you this clip. So Vacation Bible School happens in the summer. Churches all across America do it. Usually it's pretty benign, okay? It's usually almost like a day camp for a week. Kids go to the church and they're themed, like jungle themed or pirate themed or space themed. Usually you learn pretty decent stuff. Jesus loves you, you make a craft, you perhaps have an end of a VBS presentation you do for all the parents. I'm someone who did VBS many times as a child. In fact, some of my favorite songs as a kid were from my Vacation Bible School. I learned 1 Corinthians.
I went to one with my best friend. I thought it was great.
13,
I did just try to get laid.
13, the love chapter, love is patient, love is kind. I learned that entire section because of Vacation Bible School, putting it into song. So that's what this is supposed to be. Fun, happy, joyful, safe for kids. Well, this church in Lexington, Kentucky, called Mount Olive Baptist Church, has a different approach for Vacation Bible School. I'm going to play for you this clip. It's loud and chaotic, but I want to play for you the whole thing, then we'll analyze it, and then we'll play the pastor's response.
It's really gross.
To this. So buckle up, because if you haven't seen this yet, you really don't know what you're in for. Just brace yourself. Ready? Here we go. It's still shocking to watch.
Bro, like, I don't even think you could show that on a cartoon for children. That's like rated T for teen for sure. What? And the kids are shouting, take him out and blow him up? This is a Christian summer camp? Yo, this is indoctrination.
Oh yeah, this is real. This is real. There's more.
I love this. I've been thinking about this all day.
Been thinking about this all day. That's the pastor, by the way.
3, 4. What's after 4? 5, 6. What's after 6? 7, 8.
So the last thing in this video is a pop. Whatever happened out there is
take him out and blow him up. They blew him up.
This happened, friends.
This
is real.
A Christian.
This happened at a
this is a Christian camp.
Vacation Bible School. A room full of children. Look at all these kids. There are kids everywhere. Look at this. Now they're shouting, "Take him out, blow him up. Take him out, blow him up." And you have several men dressed in military garb with guns, and they are literally on the steps of the church like altar. They are shooting this person, and the kids are cheering it on. And also, who is this dude? Like who is that guy? Where is he? Who is this dude over here? What is he even doing? What is
right? Like a sniper would have just taken him out before he got anywhere near the kids. Like, what
happening? What is happening? I can tell you what's happening. So this apparently went viral, because rightfully so. And people thought at first that they were killing an immigrant, that they were simulating killing an immigrant, which honestly is not a stretch in today's America, right? There are churches that are pushing such an extreme, hateful agenda about how immigrants are destroying America. It is not far-fetched to imagine a church simulating something like this. However, the church says, no, we were killing.
Yeah, I thought it was an immigrant too. I thought it was definitely an immigrant too.
Satan.
That was Satan. Okay. That is believable, because I have gone to a Christian church for my friend TJ Horda. Shout out TJ and his church. And they did have somebody dressed up as the devil, and they were like, you know, we got to pray to Jesus to go away, devil. Pray to Jesus, go away, devil. And that's how we were not saying take him out and blow him up. We were not saying take the devil out and blow him up. We were just saying, please, Jesus, please, Jesus. And the guy was dressed up as a fucking devil. He had a devil mask on. Okay? It was very obvious he was the fucking devil. I think we were stoned as fuck, so we were like, what the fuck is happening?
Figure is supposed to be the devil that they're shooting. Okay? Now, obviously, for all kinds of reasons, this is crazy. This is immensely inappropriate for children. It normalizes violence. The kids are celebrating this. Talk about grooming. Talk about indoctrination. However, a lot of churches believe the theology that gives birth to this kind of reality. They believe that they have to kill the devil. And they teach kids that they have to put on the full armor of God to withstand the devil's temptations and to slay the enemy. So even though this is extreme, it's not like the mentality is somehow foreign to the white evangelical complex, broadly speaking. This is a very common thing. As a child, I was taught this. I sang songs about being in the army of God. I may never march the infantry, ride in the cavalry, shoot the artillery, but I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. That's what you would do. I'm in the Lord's army. So, again, extreme for sure, but the mentality is not. So, let's watch now, because obviously, as I said, this went mega viral for all the wrong reasons. This pastor decided, you know what, let me go online and explain what's going on. So I want to go through this video with you kind of point by point. I'll pause as he talks and just kind of help you.
Bruh. This is the pastor? Oh my Jesus. Oh my Jesus.
Understand what he's saying, kind of interpret some of the code words here, and also have you see firsthand how a pastor is going to respond to rightful backlash. If my kids were in that Vacation Bible School and that happened, I would be livid. I'd be through the roof that my children watched four men.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh my goodness. But some of the parents were there and saw it.
Execute someone as they cheered it on, and then they brought that body outside, and then you heard a boom. Completely inappropriate on every level. Let's hear what this pastor has to say.
And a good day to you, my friends, and just a thought from the pastor study. I want to address this firestorm concerning the clip that's been sent, I guess, everywhere. Quite frankly,
viral. He means the video of his church that's gone viral. Fuck.
Befuddled.
Pause.
He's befuddled? He's befuddled? Why it's gone viral?
Pause. We're already off to a bad start. You're befuddled, pastor? You're befuddled that a clip of your children's event killing someone and went viral? You're befuddled by the negative backlash to that? Really? Okay. What do you even say to that? You're befuddled by the obvious? All right.
The misinformation out there it's sad, and I guess it's a part of what this generation has become. And concerning the clip,
okay, so the misinformation I think he's referring to is there was a narrative that this church was simulating killing an immigrant, which was of course not true.
That's what I thought.
But then notice how he goes, that's how this generation is. Like, he blames an entire generation of young people when he's the one who pastors a church that is introducing children to executions. That's not the problem here. The problem is this generation, and I guess social media.
That has been shared. It was nothing more than a small part of our Vacation Bible School. For 32 years, Vacation Bible School.
The fuck does that mean? 32 years, then why would you do something like this? 32 years, why did you decide to have a skit of you shooting the devil and taking him outside and blowing him up at a Christian Bible school?
We have characters every year that represent good and right and God.
Notice how he said a small part, like he's trying to downplay. Hey guys, overall this event's super positive. We only had one execution. We only had one mock execution. It's not that bad. Now, don't forget, for those of us who grew up in evangelicalism, and me and April, my co-host on Tim April's show, covered this video, so you'll see our response together next week. But one thing that we both brought up was that it's so funny hearing people like this talk about and minimize how it was a small part of the event, when this is the same world that told people like you and me that a little bit of sin ruins everything. How many of us were given the example of, hey, if I make a cake and I sprinkle just a little bit of dog poop in it, are you going to want to eat it? No, of course not, because even a little bit of poop ruins the whole thing. But suddenly, oh guys, it was just a small part. we only
Never thought about it.
We only executed one person. Like, just the immediate downplaying of what is so egregious. It's already baffling to me. It's, I'm shocked but not surprised. It's one of those things.
And we have characters that represent evil and wrong and that which should be avoided. We every year, through skits and songs and games and just a lot of fun, we make church a fun place, a happy place.
How is murdering somebody and taking them outside to blow them up a happy place?
A place where we hate sin.
Where we hate sin.
Can you imagine with a straight face saying we make church a happy and fun place, and that's part of your program? This is part of your program.
Yeah, right. This isn't Veggie Tales. This is definitely not Veggie Tales.
Literally shooting someone up. Yeah, guys, happy and fun. Happy and fun for the whole family. Come on out. Come on. Come on. You cannot be for real.
But we love the sinner.
Hate sin, love the sinner.
A place where we...
Here's the whole part in context.
The sinner.
Oh, back up a little more.
A place where we make church a fun place, a happy place, a place where we hate sin, but we love the sinner.
Now, it is important to mention here that that word sin is doing a lot of heavy lifting. There's a lot of unspokens here. What does he mean by sin? What does he mean? Now, I'm going to make some assumptions, but they're based not only on my own studies of the Christian nationalist movement, but of my own involvement in white evangelical spaces where I've heard this rhetoric time and time again. When they say sin, they're not talking about greed. They're not talking about, imprisoning immigrants. They're not talking about that kind of thing. They're talking about gay people usually. They're talking about, liberals, people who hold pro-choice positions, people who want immigration to happen safely here. That's what they mean. Sin for them is not this narrative of how are the oppressed being treated? It's sinful to mistreat the oppressed, like the scripture says. That's not what they're talking about here. It's usually culture war issues or evangelical war issues like smoking or cursing or, R-rated movies. That is sin for this guy. And that's about as narrow as it's going to be.
A place where we exalt Jesus and we hate the devil. I think
it's just an ignorant view of the Bible and the purpose of the devil.
Could be an agreement that
and what Jesus teaches. Like, Jesus doesn't teach to hate the devil. Jesus just says to love everybody and turn away from sin.
We shouldn't.
But don't worry, we will be forgiven.
Love the devil. I think we're all in agreement that there's such a thing as spiritual warfare. A battle going on behind the scenes that we can't see with physical eyes.
Yeah, so this is very classic evangelical language here. And it does kind of get a little bit murky because different sects of evangelicalism have different views on this idea of spiritual warfare. I've covered the New Apostolic Reformation before. Their view of warfare with like territorial spirits and the apostles and the anointing, a little bit different than maybe what this guy's talking about. But the general gist is that there's an unseen realm, a spiritual realm, and that there's a war happening, there's a battle happening, essentially between good and evil. Now, I gotta be honest, this isn't even a very Christian idea, because Christians believe that Christ has conquered the grave, that there really is no battle, that one day God will make all things right. But for them, they like this cosmological good and evil battle idea going on. And so because of that, he believes that Satan is in charge of demons, and that they are wreaking havoc, that they are tempting people and ruining people, and that you're to be on the side of God, and that we should hate what the devil's doing. Okay? That gets manifested in people, though. That gets manifested in culture war issues. That gets manifested in the left or the gay person. It doesn't just stay somewhere, in the mind. It has to get translated into real world situations, which is why this church used people to represent the unseen, right? They're giving kids this image of people in command, in military garb with guns as the good guys who's killing another human being who represents the devil.
Yeah.
Because the devil isn't a real thing. It doesn't exist in our reality. So we have to use real things to represent that. And that's why it gets so dangerous, because these kids can't decipher the difference.
Yeah,
These kids can't
that.
tell the difference between what's happening in someone's mind or a belief system about how they think the world works versus what they're seeing at a Vacation Bible School where an execution takes place and they're cheering it on. Come on.
We here have a very serious addiction ministry, have for years, reaching those that have been broken by drugs and alcohol, some horrible addiction that's taken from them everything that's good. And we welcome them to come, and we give them the truth that Jesus loves them, that the devil does hate them. They can be forgiven, can get a new life, can start over. And it's been one of the themes of our church. I think of how many times I've visited a jail, and I leave there heartbroken over what sin and Satan has done to that poor person, and pray that
you take them outside and blow them up. What the
God,
fuck?
I pray they let you change their life. And every year for 32 years, we've had this evil against good in our Vacation Bible School. The last several years, we've had the Commandos for Christ.
The Commandos for Christ. That has different meanings. What do you mean by Commandos for Christ? Are they going commando? Is that what you mean?
That has the gospel gun. It's the answer for the devil.
Yeah, here's the thing though. There is no gospel gun in the scriptures. The gospel isn't a gun. The gospel is good news. Guns are not good news usually. No. Guns kill and destroy, and they bring they're inherently violent. They bring violence on earth. The gospel, the good news of Jesus, is love and joy and peace and enemy love and redemption and repentance, turning and going the other way, right? From participating in systems that hurt other people. It is not a gun. Commandos for Christ with their gospel gun is not, that's a very American idea. That is not a gospel idea. It's not a biblical idea in the sense of what the gospels teach. This is a pastor. This pastor thinks like he is just being faithful to the calling of Jesus. The same Jesus who, by the way, never told his followers to storm the capital of Rome. Who told Peter to put away his weapon. I mean, just read the four Gospels, my guy.
Gospel and the Word of God. It's the answer. The clip you saw was simply killing the devil.
Wow.
And I'll be honest with you, if I could kill the devil every day and raise him up and kill him again, I'd do it.
Then what? Oh my God, these people have such a warped view of fucking Christianity.
That's just incredibly weird, sadistic. But by the way, okay, I don't know who wants to raise the devil back up and kill him again. I mean, why would you want to do that? If the devil's dead, he's dead. It is interesting how, if the gospel gun is effective, if the gospel gun kills the devil, why isn't the devil dead yet? Why? How many Christians around the world war against the devil? How many charismatics war against territorial demons? And they're still there, apparently, anyway, allegedly. They're still there. They're still trying to take over America. They're still in our government. They're still trying to ruin young people.
Yeah, why have all the prayers failed? Damn. And he's like a big Christian guy. All right, y'all. Life 2, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Stay posting, stay talking, stay ready for the worst that's gonna come, because yeah, like Hassan said, it is gonna be a very interesting week with more and more that's gonna come out for Lindsey Graham's death. Trump's war with Iran is continuing. The Epstein files are still, that fight is still fighting. New Mexico is feuding with the DOJ right now. Yeah, it's gonna be actually a newsworthy week. All right, y'all. Well, take care. See you soon. I don't know which day. I'm gonna try for Thursday, because I think I'm gonna go Friday or Saturday dancing.